Hey, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am here with Tiffany Williams, and she is a professional organizer, and she specializes in a really interesting topic, and that's ADHD and clutter. And
Mhm.
so today we're going to have that conversation and we're going to unpack some of the frustrations that we run into. And maybe we're going to come to some solutions today. But one thing I know for sure is that with Tiffany's expertise, we're going to start looking at the world a tiny bit differently than maybe we did earlier today. So please help me welcome Tiffany Williams.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
One of the things that we found really immensely successful and helpful when we work with people who are dealing with clutter issues
Mhm,
is to set some ground rules like what you just said, where
mhm,
it's a decision making muscle. But we like to say there will be failure. You will
mhm.
get rid of something and then later you're going to go, "Ugh, I
Yep.
wish I didn't throw that away." That
Mhm.
is going to happen and that is okay. There's
Right.
more of where that came from, whatever it is, a cheese grater or a rolling pin or whatever it is.
Right.
There will be mistakes, but there's more of where that came from. It is available to you to buy again if need be, or you can borrow one from a friend or what have you. The other thing that I think is really important that often goes overlooked is you mentioned earlier having 100 decisions.
Mm,
And if you do have decisions and you're going on a series of let's get rid of a whole bunch of stuff and we're going to start decluttering and what have you, one of the things to pay close attention to is we're doing something that requires a lot of creativity and brain power that we
mhm,
are not accustomed to using this
mhm,
way. And
mhm.
therefore, at the end of this session, a nap is required because you will physically be like exhausting. And instead of just then powering on through the rest of the day, wait a second,
Mhm,
I braced in this little tiny window of decluttering and then
mhm,
partnered it with a little tiny nap, and now I'm ready to go again. So if we don't put that nap in there, many people, when you come back for round two, they're like, "Oh, I'm just so tired. I just can't do it. I just can't go through that again." But
mhm,
knowing that, hey, we haven't exercised these muscles in a long time,
mhm,
there has to be a chance to rebuild it. Therefore,
mhm,
there must be a little nap built in so that we can clean and then take a nap and then we're good again. That
mhm,
I think that's easy to overlook. So don't forget that you're going to fail, you're gonna make some mistakes, and that's okay. It's like when for all the years I cleaned houses, I'd go inside someone's house and I said, "I'm going to break your stuff." And they're like, "What?" Well, not on purpose. I will never intentionally break your
mm,
stuff, but moving things around, picking them up, wiping them down, dusting underneath them, thousands of things a day. Every once in a while, something slips, it drops, or it breaks. Okay. But I want to let you know that something will break sooner or later. And when it does, I will always tell you. But then
mhm,
when it happens, nobody was like, "Whoa, something broke." No, we knew it was coming. It's
mhm.
a natural part of life. And being tired after a decluttering session is a natural part of life. It's just what's going to happen. So there will be mistakes and you will be tired.
I 100% agree. First thing when I show up to a session, the first 2 questions other than, "Hi, how are you?" is,
Mm.
"Have you taken your meds?" if they're take meds.
Ah,
Have you had something to eat? Have you had something to drink? Coffee, water, those sort of things. So we need to have all of those things taken care of and then we can go. And it's funny that you say that because I do joke sometimes after a session like, hey, it's time for both of us to take a nap because it
mhm,
is hard, especially if you haven't been using your decision making muscle for a long time. But it's not just that, it's really like, you're also really delving into maybe what is important to you, something that you
mhm,
haven't looked at in a long time, and you're really making some judgments about what you need, how often you use it, is it important to you? All of those things which if you have been delaying on a decision for a really long time or clutter for a really long time, you haven't had to ask yourself those questions. And
mhm,
it can be mentally draining. That's why I only do 4-hour sessions. The most I'll ever
mhm.
do is 4 hours. And then we have some time in between the next session so that you can take best care of yourself and we can start another round together. So I agree with the nap suggestion.
Well, it's not just the decision fatigue,
Hmm.
but when you're making decision, you're touching a lot of sentimental things. So there is emotional fatigue as well. And then if you're doing the one touch method and you're going to run, go put it away right now, and I got to run to this room and I got to run downstairs and I got to run over here and I got to do hit this and I got to go out to the garage and da 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 da. There's a lot of physical exhaustion as
Hmm.
well. So if you're
Yep.
not used to doing that, there's a lot of stuff. And then you get done and you're like, whoa, I'm so tired. Okay,
Hmm.
yes, you're tired. And then all of a sudden there's this overwhelming sense of, "Oh my goodness, check me out. Look at all the stuff I just got done." And
Mhm.
there's this little sense of pride, and there's this little sense of it wasn't that bad. And
Mhm.
then we can come back and we can build on that momentum. Can you talk to us for a little bit about the momentum that we build after we get back on track again after our little nap and we've had our coffee or our water or whatever it is?
I think the panic and the fear and anxiety before the session, but now that we've worked together and you feel a little bit more confident about the process and you feel maybe 10 out of 100% in your decision making muscle, right? You're really working it out. I think the second session and those afterwards is really strengthening the ability to actually possibly see the larger picture a little bit more and the categories that we're going to bring in or the areas that we're going to store things together. Sometimes with executive function issues, we don't remember where we put something last. And so being able to have a category. So maybe on the second session after we're paring down, after we've cleared some clutter, we're working on our next step, which is how are we making your house more functional? Having a category of X in this area means you don't have to memorize exactly where everything is in your home. As long as it's like with like in this area, then you have a roundabout of where it might be. And your family members have a roundabout of where it might be. Because if the only person that knows where it is you, that makes it much more difficult. So I would definitely say building the confidence and also your priorities. And I see this a lot. We have a strategy, we have a goal before I come. But then as soon as I show up, sometimes that changes because now we've decided there's something else that's more important. You called me for the closet, but really we need to work on organizing your bills so that we can get your credit card bills down or whatever, those sort of things. And the decision making skills kind of change with the goals as well. And now your priority is maybe a little different than when you first called.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. This has been so fascinating.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. I
Yes,
appreciate it. And
you're
thank you guys
welcome.
for showing up today. This was awesome. We'll
Thanks,
see you next
everybody.
time.